a job. I am Hanley Fajardo, your host for today's program. May I request for everyone to take a moment of silence as we start the program with an opening prayer and the singing of national hymns.
Let us begin. Name. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang mag-ibig, telas ng sinangalan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyang ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ng bagaw, ay hinatang tulang awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng patawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iibig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magtitingin. Lupa ng araw ng walang pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya ng pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. Mga kababayan,
Before we start the program, I would like for everyone to keep in mind these etiquettes or reminders that I'm going to read. In line with the Data Privacy Act, please be informed that this webinar is being recorded. Attendance to this online activity indicates your approval and consent to all information gathered in the activity. Utilize the emoticons in the Zoom meeting app and the chat function to answer questions from the resource speaker. Turn off microphones when not in use. When you would like to speak, click the hand raise button and wait for the facilitator to acknowledge you. Turn on cameras if available. If in case of low bandwidth, you can turn off your camera to avoid disconnection from the Zoom meeting. Dress appropriately during the session. Be polite and courteous at all times. The reminders after the webinar. Please don't forget to answer the online evaluation form. A link will be posted before the end of the webinar. Note that the online evaluation form will only be open until 8 p.m. today. E-certificates will be provided, so please give us time to send it to you. For concerns with certificates, please send an email to the guidance and counseling 2020@gmail.com. And now, in this juncture, may I call on our guidance counselor, Ma'am Grace De Rosa Hinto, for the statement of purpose. A virtual applause, please.
So, good day, everyone. Good day, everyone. It is a great honor to greet a pleasant morning to our administrators, headed by our OIC, Mr. Leonidas Borja, MPA JD, our program chairs, head of offices, teachers, our speakers and facilitators, and to our dear students. Good morning. As we all know, job interviews can be a nerve-wracking experience for the applicant and a time-consuming exercise also for the hiring company. However, it plays a key role in determining whether the company and candidate will make an effective match. Interview is the most important measure used by an organization to decide on their potential prospective employee. The importance of interview process allows both parties to exchange information, ask interview questions, and evaluate the potential for establishing a professional working relationship. In this career guidance session, it is essential for students, especially soon to be graduating students, who are planning to get a job. This will hopefully help them to be guided through the different types of interview, be familiar with the interview questions, walk through the necessary steps associated with preparing for the interview, and provide some tips that will help students ace the job interview. This further aims to help students become more aware of the different arrangements in job seeking, be able to prepare students become job ready, and to enhance skills and knowledge of students to be able to successfully acquire their chosen career path. So keep in your mind, and I encourage everyone to really listen well and jot down important notes or points that can be useful for your future endeavors. With this being said, I hope you will learn a lot on the discussions from our speaker. And thank you, everyone, and have a great day. PCCN.
Thank you for that, Ma'am Grace. And now, may I call on our officer in charge, Sir Leonidas L. Borja, for the welcoming message. A virtual round of applause, please.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Hanili. Our greetings to our South Director, Dr. Delmar Gatin, and our guidance counselor head, Ma'am Grace De Rosa Hento. And of course, we'd like to welcome this morning, joining us in this webinar, the no less than the Vice President for Operation for TASAS, Mr. Dominic De La Cruz. To all the teachers, faculty, students, everyone attending in this webinar, a pleasant morning to everyone. First of all, I would like to congratulate especially our participants, the third year students of Taglan City College, for joining this webinar. Our topic for today, acing the job interview, is but deemed proper and appropriate because in 1 year time, majority or all of you will be graduating from Tagbilaran City College. And that's why you you are enrolling in Taguig City College because you want to pursue a career in the future. So having the job interview is one of the very important steps that you need to take if you want to apply for a job. People fail to uh, pass the interview because they are not equipped, they are not ready, especially mentally, physically, and emotionally. And we hope to this webinar, we will be able to learn and be equipped with these necessary tools so that you'll be able to prepare yourselves to face the world. Remember, there are a lot of things that the schools will not teach you, but you learn it as you go along in the process. So I like to say, listen and learn by heart all the topics and what we are going to, our speaker for today would like to impart to us. In behalf of our beloved City Mayor, Mayor John Gisnel Babayap, the chairman of the board, would like to once again greet everyone a pleasant evening and enjoy the rest of the day. God bless us all.
Thank you for that welcoming and insightful message, Sir Borja. And now, nakapamahal ba tanan? Kasi basin kahawat mga chatan mo niya ha. Char lang. Sana all ipagkuyatan. Sana all na dyan. So, since I know for sure nga, daghan mo jutang, kuan pa jud, bagong mata. Kasi bagong mata pa ni. Ako, char. So, para ma-energize ko na itong mga utok, no? Let us proceed to our icebreakers. For sure, since familiar naman siguro mo sa rebus. Familiar or di? Kinsay di? Kaya para itong i-challenge. Char. Ako. Sige, let's proceed no sa atong first nga puzzle. You can comment the answers in the chat box or directly na lang mag-answer. Here's the first one. Kinsay maka-answer man. Why mo answer? Kasi mo answer. Why mo answer? Listen, nakutaw na ba ang mga utok? So, ang answer is top secret. Since nasi kwan. Gin-circlean si secret sa top. Yay! Nine answer. Very good. Next. This one. Pakutawan ng mga utok, guys. No, dili summer job. Wow, the answer of the resource speaker. Yes, sir, that is correct. It is. Answer is inside job. Yay. Next. This one. Kinsay maka-answer. Yes! Sakto! Lazy afternoon ang answer. Last but not the least, this one. Working under time? Sakto ba? Answer is working overtime. Yay! Sakto si Kiana Shane. Very good, everyone. Very good, very good. For sure, kano dyan siya, proof na dyan siya nga kano dyan yung mga utok no? Alive na and kicking. So, ready na ba mo, Mamina, for our webinar? Ready na? For sure, ready na, Jud. So allow me to introduce today's resource speaker. Our resource speaker goes by the nickname Doms. He joined the BPO as a call center agent in 2004, where he had the opportunity to work with great mentors that helped build his career. With Dom's expertise and spectacular results, within 9 months joining Taskas, he recently got promoted from director to operations vice president. When he can, he spends most of his time underwater. Scuba diving is his passion. He has future plans of joining a Viking club and continue working on other skills like fishing, carpentry, and canine training. His wife, 2 sons, mom, and 3 dogs relocated with him to Bohol to make Bohol their new home. So students, PCCians, let us welcome our resource speaker for today's webinar, Sir Dominic Doms de la Cruz. A round of applause, please.
There you go. Good morning, everyone. Are you all able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Hello.
Yes,
Good
sir.
morning. Good morning, Erica. Good morning, Marjorie. Thanks for a thumbs up, Stephanie. Good morning, everyone. You don't have to call me sir. I go by the nickname Doms. Everyone else calls me Doms, so I think we should be good with that. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's a pleasure to be here, and this is something that I really look forward to. The first time I was informed of the possibility of giving you guys a discussion over acing job interviews, I immediately said yes. I would love to do that. So I'm delighted to be here, and I hope everyone's also excited to go through our discussion for a really deep and meaningful discussion today. Shall we begin? So, first and foremost, I'd like to give you an overview of who we are. Who is Task Us? Um, has anyone heard of Task Us before? Yes. What have you heard about Task Us? Feel free to get on the mic. It will be great to have a really good interaction. Yes, BPO, that's correct. And there's more about Task Us to just being an BPO. But but to give you a formal overview, Task Us, we're in NASDAQ, so we're a public company. We're a provider of outsourced digital services, right, for next generation customer experience to companies that are innovative and disruptive when it comes to technology. So we have a whole range of clients, and those that are part of TaskUs love the work that they do and the association they have with the brands that we carry. Leveraging on cloud-based infrastructure, TaskUs serves clients in the fastest growing sectors, including social media, e-commerce, gaming. I'm sure that's popular to everyone right now. Streaming media, food delivery, ride sharing, and a whole lot more like high tech, fintech, and health tech. One thing to take note of is that we are an equal opportunity employer. Does anyone have an idea what an equal opportunity employer means? I guess not. So, by the end of this session, I hope that more than just giving to you guys an overview of how to ace an interview, you will also get a better perspective on why TaskUs is an equal opportunity employer. Moving on. So I'd like to share with you our mission. As you can see here, it says empower people to deliver ridiculously good innovation to the world's best companies. You'll notice that in TaskUs, we're very fond of using the word ridiculously or ridiculous because that's actually one of our core values, which is to be ridiculous. So we challenge the norms and we push forward for being the best. We do this by providing our employees with the best benefits and programs that care for the overall well-being of our employees. And that includes mental health. So we've made investments to ensure our employees and everyone within TaskUs has access to resources that will cater to making sure we have good mental health. We believe that if we take care of our employees and teach them to take care of themselves, they will do their best for the clients that we serve. Does that make sense so far? Okay, moving on to the next slide. Here, we take a lot of pride on the awards that we've won and as a company. And that should put context on how we take care of our people and how we take pride in the culture that we have. Because Taskas has consistently been recognized as among the best places to work. We've received more than like over 100 prestigious awards. And that actually reflects our commitment to our employees, our clients, and our customers. To tell you honestly, not every company will ensure that they go by their culture. Here in Taskas, we're very particular when it comes to that. And the awards that you see here is a testament of the real world culture that we have. Most notably, Taskas Philippines has received a renewal of our platinum accreditation. That's the highest level of recognition from investors and people. That's actually a nonprofit group that provides a set of frameworks and standards for businesses to build stronger employee cultures and organizations. So that only validates how TaskUs has revolutionized the global outsourcing industry through its people first culture and suite of accompanying employee benefits. Now, I'll take a pause there about people first culture. I'd like to share a story about people first. I think everyone would be aware that we got hit by Odette sometime late last year. Well, when that happened, the first thing that we did was to show our concern for each and every employee that we have. We even went as far as deploying our managers and supervisors to go door to door to each of the addresses that we knew to ensure that all of our employees are okay. We brought them medicines, water, food, and anything and everything that they need. And that's how we were able to see it through as a group of people and as employees of TaskUs. And that's a testament of the people first culture that we have here. I'm hoping some of you would have heard some good words from some of our teammates about that, but we're very happy that everyone saw it through and everyone was safe. Just wanted to share that to everybody. And Tasas is the largest and only IIP accredited BPO company in the Philippines and the first organization to receive IIP's Health and Wellbeing Category Award in the country back in 2018. The same year, the company received its platinum accreditation. So later today, if you want to find out more, I'll send you a link that you can go through to find out more about that. But more recently, and this is something that's exciting for us, um, the Stevie Awards for great employers in a number of categories. We were awarded um, Employer of the Year, Achievement in Workplace Health and Well-being, and more importantly, People Focused CEO of the Year. So our CEO is really adamant about making sure we live by our culture of people first and we take care of each and every one within TaskUs. So I hope that will put context on the type of culture that we have in the company. I'll take a pause there and I would like to find out if you guys have questions about TaskUs. You can chat it. I'll open the chat box. Okay, no questions yet. Now, the next few slides will give you an overview of our different locations and a snapshot of our different sites. So I hope this is something that you'll get to enjoy. Let's move on to the next slide. So here's our global footprint. So we're a global company, right? So TaskUs globally has approximately over 40,000 employees across 23 locations and in 10 countries. We're in the US, India, Taiwan, Mexico, Colombia, Greece, Ireland, and recently we expanded in Japan, Malaysia, Romania, and Poland. In fact, some of my colleagues have left the Philippines. I think that was last week to join the implementations team in Malaysia as we grow that site. Um, In the Philippines alone, we currently have 9 sites across the country. We are strategically located. We're in Taguig City, Quezon City, La Union, Pampanga, Bulacan, Cavite, Batangas, Rizal, and Bohol, of course. So that's where we are at on our global footprint. And I would like to show to you a snapshot of our different sites. This is our site in La Union. It's called the Lighthouse. So you'll see that it's well designed. You'll notice as we go along that we are very particular in making sure that our offices are beautiful. It's unique and ridiculously different from any other office that you will find in other places. So next is our house teamwork that's in Pampanga. You'll see that it's well made. We have Fort Excellence in Bulacan. We have in Quezon City, that's the Chateau Ridiculous. Next would be the Lizard Bear Lair, that's in Bonifacio Global City. I'm excited to go there. We have Lizzie's Nook, that's in Imos Cavite. You'll see that it's a really, really beautiful site. We have the simplicity of Lizzie's Watchtower in Antipolo Rizal. And the theme here for Batangas is like underwater, so it's called Atlantis. You'll see the design. We have dolphins and fishes. It's like being a mermaid in the office. And last but not the least, we have Liz's Playground. So that's here in Bohol. What you're seeing there right now is the third floor lobby. Once you get there, you'll be greeted with a beautiful lobby, and then there's a slide that actually connects to our fourth floor. So part of our tradition is when we have visitors, we ask them to take the slide at Lizzie's Playground. And interesting enough, a lot of our employees enjoy the slide. So I just wanted to share that with you. These ridiculously unique offices is something that represents our core values, which is work hard and have fun. Now, the challenge is how to land at TaskUs and enjoy these cool office spaces, right? how to get into a job. So I'd like to find out first. I know it was mentioned that majority of your, if not all, are third year students. But has anyone ever tried applying for a job?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet. So that's good. I hope that you will learn a lot from our session. The challenge is how to land a job, and whenever you want to apply, interviews are crucial. It's very crucial to landing the dream job that you want. It is important to know some basics, like what are the things that you should prepare for, what you should avoid, and a whole lot of things that we'll talk about in the upcoming slides. That's what we will be covering today. Okay, I hope you're all excited. Take out your notes. Feel free to take notes, and hopefully, somewhere down the line, when you go through your interview, you remember this very moment where we talk about how to ace that particular job interview. Yeah. So let's begin. How to ace your job interview. You'll see that there are several parts that we'd like to discuss to ensure that you will be able to ace your job interviews. Now, first thing that we recommend you do is to know the company and the details of the role, right? So when it comes to that, having the knowledge about the company, the position you're applying for, it sounds like it's, yeah, that should be a standard preparation, right, for someone who's applying for a job. But ensure that you do your research, and that should be your first step in preparing for an interview. Because not being able to answer questions such as what do you know about the company, what do you know about the role that you're applying for, that will actually um, be deterrent, right? When you do your research and you know things about the company and the role that you're applying for, it gives your recruiter an impression that you're not, you're keen, right? You're really interested. So know the company's competitors as well, because having the advantage of knowing that will be useful during your interview. Know the company and the details of the role. So before I move forward, when I was still starting in my career, what I used to do was, since I was already a call center agent then, I wanted to become a supervisor. So what I did was I do my research on what does it take to become a supervisor. So more than just research, I go as far as looking at the job description, right? So there's this laundry list of qualifications in the job description. Some will say must be good communicators. Some would say must have good typing skills, must know some softwares. So those are the things that I actually print out, and I put a check mark on those things that I know I'm good at. So in the grand scheme of things, if you put a check mark and you know about the position, you will get to see visually that yes, you are the person that they're looking for, because that's ultimately what you want to do. When you're in front of your recruiter, however the interview goes, your messaging is, hey recruiter, I'm the person you're looking for. Give me that job, right? Isn't that the case? Okay, moving on. So the next item that will be handy is to prepare for the most common and difficult interview questions. That's going to be part of your research, to do a research on all possible questions that may be thrown at you. Because interview questions may vary. It depends on how the discussion will go. It may not be limited to your abilities and skills, but part of the interview will definitely be a validation of your behavior, your character, and your personality. And trust me, the recruiters, the people that are conducting the interview, they are very well trained to identify the behavior, the character, and the personality that they're looking for. It's one thing to have someone who knows how to communicate. It's another to have someone who knows how to communicate and display the right behavior, the right character, and the true personality that we're looking for. That will get you in almost 100% of the time. Does that make sense so far? So before I move forward, I'd like to ask everyone, um, what do you think are examples of questions that are being asked in an interview? Give it a shot. I'll open the chat box if you don't want to speak on the microphone, but if you want to speak on the microphone, that will be great. I would appreciate that as well. Tell me about yourself. Right. Tell me about yourself. It's a very simple question. When you answer that question, you can use your own words. You have to be confident to answer by sharing your interests, your abilities, telling the person about yourself, not limited to what's already on the resume, right? Because what's on your CV, on your resume, is something the interviewer would have read. But what is it about you that I need to know more, right? True, I may be asking questions like I would ask Jennifer follow-up questions that are found on her resume to validate what's in there, right? Like if the person says, I'm really good in using the cell phone, I'd probably ask questions like, what phone are you using? And I'm not familiar with that phone. Can you show me how to turn it on and off? Right? That's a way of validating things. But not limited to that, we would love to find out more about you, especially in Taskas. We talk about what do you do on a weekend? What are you passionate about? Right? That's very important for us. Why should I hire you? Why should I hire you? Okay, that's we'll get there. We'll get there, Cassie. Cassie Taray. Got it. Why should I hire you? How did you hear about this position? Wow, you guys are prepared. How will you handle irate customers? Why do you want this job? Okay, let me ask you this. Let's give it a shot. If I ask you now, why do you want this job? What's your best response? Who wants to give it a shot? On the microphone. No takers? What are your strengths and weaknesses? So if I was to ask you now, why do you want this job? How would you answer that? Give it your best shot. So there's a reason for the moment of silence, right? And I could only think of a couple of things. One would be I was not expecting I'm going to be asked that question. Two would be the hesitation to answer the question. Three would be it's kind of awkward for me to answer that question in front of everyone, and a whole lot of reasons why no one responded to that question. However, realize that part of your preparation is to be ready for the interview. So when that question is raised, you should be in your best self, the most confident you to answer that question. Yeah? What are your salary expectations? Yeah, I've been yeah, that's a good one. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Yeah, so you guys do have an idea of basic questions, right? Like sell yourself and make the most when you're doing that. Here's another example. The one that was raised. Why you ask? Why should we hire you? Right? Why should we hire you? Um, okay. Let's do this. I really need someone to give this a shot. Why should we hire you? Give it a shot. Use in chat, use your phone, use your microphone. Just give it a shot. Why should we hire you?
And I can do work hard.
Sorry, you're cutting in and out. I think it's your internet. But feel free to chat. And if there's anyone else who would like to speak on the microphone, please do so. Why should we hire you? Someone was trying to answer earlier. Feel free to give it a shot. There's no right or wrong answer here. This is the part where take advantage of this opportunity to learn as much as you can. So this will be the best time for you to give it a shot. So to anyone who wants to try that answer, I am sure I will be able to contribute something capable to the growth of the company. Wow, that's a beautiful response. Why should we hire you? I am sure I will be able to contribute something capable to the growth of the company. So Jennifer Telmo, that's a really good response. Well thought of. Now, Jennifer, let me ask you another question. Why should I not hire you? Puts us in a totally different playing field, doesn't it? Right, Jennifer? And everyone else? So on the first question, why should we hire you? It's easy to sell yourself. But if in the interview I ask you, why should we not hire you? Answer yourself this. Would you have been ready for that question? That's a yes or no, right? Would you have answered that question in the best way that you could? Why should we not hire you? And that falls under examples of difficult questions. So during your interview, you could have a hodgepodge of different questions, but a part of it will be difficult questions. And those are the things that you really need to prepare for, right? So let's give it a shot. Who wants to answer this? Why should we not hire you?
Maybe my skills is not enough for the needs of your company.
Sorry, the audio was cutting in and out again. Do you mind if you type that on the chat box? So this is the part where we need to be ready to answer surprising questions. Some companies, actually most companies, will really ask this question, and simple as why should we not hire you? And I would love to see the best response that you can bring forward right now. Why should we not hire you? Who wants to give it a shot?
Maybe my skills is not enough for the needs of your company.
Maybe my skills is not enough for the needs of your company. That is an honest answer, but there's a better way of responding to that. Are you ready to find out how to answer to that kind of question?
Yes, sir.
There you go. So it's like this. The best approach to give an answer is to be authentic, right? And yet it will be to your advantage. So you use the if and then methodology. Those are magic words you use for difficult questions. So an example would be, if you're looking for a talent that is not competitive, then that's not me. I am very competitive, I'm self-motivated, and I envision myself being part of your company, taking care of tasks, projects, in which I'll be very successful, I'm very competitive, and it's something that will add value to my existence in your team. But again, if you're not looking for that kind of person, then I guess I'm not the person you're looking for. You should not hire me. How does that sound? Are you digesting that?
Pardon, sir.
Are you able to take note of that response on why we should not hire you,
Yes, sir.
right? So it's a matter of strategy because it's a difficult question. It's a question meant to surprise you. I've tried asking this question several times, and one of the best responses that I got from a candidate was telling me, you know what, I'm probably one of the most hardworking persons you'll ever know. So if you're not looking for someone who's hardworking, I don't think you should consider hiring me. That's what he told me. I was impressed, and straight up, I told him, you know what, go to my assistant, and he'll give you a job offer. I was impressed. So that's a tip for everyone. I hope you're able to take note of that. And I hope that will be useful and helpful in the future. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
There's a technique I'd like to share with everyone that I learned. I learned this when I was still a call center agent. That was long time ago. Like a very long time ago. It's called the STAR approach. I'll type it in the chat box so you can take note of it. Okay. The STAR approach. So when I went through my developmental training when I was still a call center agent, and we were taught about the STAR approach, and we were told, this approach is something that you can bring with you, regardless of who you're talking to. You'll be able to come up with intelligent conversations, regardless if the person's Filipino, American, what have you. It will put you up there when you're speaking. So STAR approach is a behavioral question asked by recruiters, right? They will ask behavioral questions and make sure you answer with this methodology, the STAR approach. S and T stands for situation and task. I'll write it down on the chat so you can take note of it. Situation and its task, right? A is action, and R is result. I hope you're taking note of this because this will be very handy for each and every one of you. And you can start applying this when you're having conversations, right? So how to apply that methodology, the situation, task, action, and results. Um, so if someone was to approach me and say, hey Dom, um, were you ever in a situation when you were asked to speak to a group of college students, right? I shouldn't just answer that question with a yes. I should expound with a yes and a star, which is the methodology we talked about. So I would most likely respond like this. Yes, there was a time that I was asked to speak with a group of college students. So the situation and the task is asked to speak to a group of college students. What, what I did was to prepare myself and do my research as well, um, to go through the topic and be able to discuss appropriately. And as a result of that, which is your result, we had a deep and meaningful conversation, and the college students learned something from the session, thereby making them more ready for future interviews. So if you look at the conversation in itself, it sounded like we were having a free flow conversation, but I was just really following the situation, task, the actions that I took, and the result. Do you have questions so far?
None so far, sir.
I hope it's helping so far, and it's painting a picture of how you could go about um, with an interview. Okay, moving on. So with those techniques that have been shared, The next item that you need to watch out for is to practice, and do as many practice as you can. You talk to yourself in front of a mirror. You imagine yourself being in an interview. You practice with the facial expressions. You practice with your smile. I have my face mask on, so you can't see it, but you know that I'm not frowning, right? You know that I'm delighted to be here in front of you. Um, you practice to remove the fillers. The fillers are your typical, like what I had earlier. It took me a long time to put a stoppage to that, right? Yes, was someone trying to ask something? Was there a question? Okay, I guess not. So that's the filler. That's what you need to stop. Everyone goes through that, but not everyone has as much ums as possible. So when you're going through an interview, you need to be able to control those fillers. Like, tell me about yourself. I'm from Tagbilaran City College. I graduated with honors in my batch. Um, I'm here because I want to get this job. I'll be the best employee that you have. That's all. On the contrary, you can always say, hello, good morning. I'm from Tagbilaran City College. I graduated with honors. I'm here to get this job and I would like to contribute. Huge difference when you remove the fillers, correct? Do you see the difference? Do you hear the difference? It makes you more intelligent when you remove your fillers. So please take note of that because that will be very helpful. The more fillers you have, um, uh, uh, the more it paints a picture that you're not certain and you may not be as intelligent as you should actually be. The more crisp the conversation, the closer you get to getting your dream job. So, what will you do to get your dream job? You control your fillers. Okay? You plan your outfit. So, of course, there are virtual interviews. I'm a bit dressed down. That's how I like it. But it would be best to go on a business casual. You need to know about the company, right? You're gonna research. So you would know if they're a very formal, a business casual kind of a company. But more importantly, you should be decent, fit for the occasion. And you would know what that means, right? You would have your collar on and just be decent. Don't forget to put on a pair of slacks if you could, a nice pair of trousers, and be mindful of how you look like. And you can do that by preparing, again, being in front of a mirror. Now, if I could share a little bit of story, years ago when I went through my first product training, when I graduated, I asked my trainer, how do I become a trainer? Because I want to become a trainer. And he just told me, you know what, Dom, if you want my job, come and get it, it's yours. But if you really want to be prepared for my job, work with me, I'll teach you how. And it was interesting. Well, it was so simple that what he told me was to face the mirror, talk to myself, and if I'm happy with what I saw and what I heard, then that's what I bring forward for all the interviews that I'm going to undergo in my career. And so I did. And fast forward, it took me 4 years to become a director, and it took me several more years to become VP. And I never let go of the learning that I learned from that mentor, which is to practice, practice, and practice. Practice in front of a mirror, talk to yourself. If you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, that's probably it. Okay? Shall we move on? Okay, moving on. Dress up, smile, and be ready at the backstage. It's just very straightforward. We talked about it, dressing up appropriately. It will be great if you could be on time. You have to be respectful of others' time. So that's very important. If it's a Zoom meeting, make sure that you dialed in early on and don't be late, right? If for whatever reason you're encountering technical difficulties, make sure that you reach out. Just to share, just recently, there was someone who wanted to join my team and applied as a manager. So I went to an interview with him, and it was specifically mentioned that it will be a video conference. He never turned on his video camera, but I had to ask, why is your camera off? And then he told me that he had technical difficulties. So we had to reschedule, but I would have just wished that he could have just told me straight out, hey, Doms, I'm having technical difficulties right now. So I hope you don't mind. I have my camera off, but I really would like to push through with this interview today. That would have made a huge difference, right? Would you agree? Okay. So the next thing you need to watch out for is be authentic. During the interview, you have to be honest. You have to show your true self. But remember about what we talked about, which is, of course, you have to be ready for surprise questions. Do not be pressured to give answers that you feel you are kind of obliged to say. Remember, you'll be accountable for everything that you say during the interview, right? You have to tell the truth so you won't be blinded by all those false commitments if in case you do get the role. So it's best that you get selected because the company, the recruiter saw, the interviewer saw the real you and was able to say, hey, this person is who we're looking for. Come and join our team. And they were able to capture that because you were authentic. So that's how we want it to be. Now, one of the things that we'd like you to take note of is to ask smart questions. It's important to open with your interview, to be open with your interviewer, right? But it wouldn't hurt to ask questions to put the right context on everything. That shouldn't be a problem. Think of questions that will make you ready to do the job in case you're selected, right? Like, what are sample questions do you think you will bring with you when you're going through an interview? Can someone share? What do you think are questions you should be asking when you're going through an interview? You can put it in the chat box. Give it a shot. Okay, so some of the questions that might be handy is like, what is your structure like? Is there a specific technology or software that I should be a master of? What are your expectations from me when I get that position? Questions like those will actually help you go through the conversation with your recruiter. And it gives an impression that you're really interested in getting the role and joining the company. So part of the preparation is to think ahead, making yourself ready to get hired by thinking of questions that you're going to ask them. In most cases, in my case, I would have found myself going through the website of the company that I'm applying for. And from there, I'm able to formulate questions that I wanted clarification on. And those are the questions that I bring forward in the event that I have conversations with the hiring manager, right? I hope that's something you're able to capture. Use the power of storytelling to present yourself. So this is a portion of this. It's a situation, task, action, and result methodology. But really, it's the ability to tell the story about you, your experience. So while focusing on your credentials and competence is okay, right? The thing with that is it will look like it's rehearsed. Interviewers would appreciate a more free flow conversation with you, and that takes some level of skill. So a great way to do this is to leverage the power of storytelling. Share your personal story that has helped you to become who you are right now and why you're ready for this job, right? Realize when we started this conversation, I told you a story about the experience in Odette. I just wanted to tell the story anyhow. But I would have gone through the same storytelling if I was in front of a job interview right now. And I would continue telling stories. So make sure that you're prepared to use the power of storytelling, okay? Know your recruiter and ways to follow up. So all you have to do is to ask for the number and the email of your recruiter, and you ask the person, uh, is it fine if I send you an email and make a follow up on my application by next week? Right? That shouldn't hurt. Don't be afraid to ask. Remember the name of your recruiter so you can share the information when you make a follow up, okay? And last but not the least, guess what? Be positive. We all have our time and luck. We all have our place in where we should be. And the key there is to never give up, right? If you don't land the job the first time, go for it the second time, right? When I applied for supervisor, I applied 7 times. And it was on the seventh time that I got promoted. So I'd like to call it the lucky seven. Later down the line, as I look back, I realized from a supervisor to a manager, I applied 7 times as well. And I made it on the seventh time. And I guess you know how that story goes with the rest of the positions I applied for. So always be positive. For every interview that you go through, it should be a learning experience and it should get you more equipped for the next interview that you're going to have. Okay? Before I move forward, I hope you guys were able to take note of how to ace your interview. If you were able to take notes and you put all those together, I can almost envision you acing your interview. And if our paths cross in the future and you ace the interview, please remind me that we had this conversation years back and that you were in this session from Tagbilaran City College, okay? That would be nice. Okay, moving on. I would like to talk to you a little bit more about TaskUs and employee person benefits that we have. Now, if you do apply and manage to pass the job interviews with us, I'm going to share with you some of our industry leading perks. And as you can see, we have our enhanced health benefits, our HMO. Here, teammates are entitled to HMO benefits on the 15th day of their employment. So what that means is on the 15th day of your employment, you're already covered. HMO is your insurance if in case you get sick or what have you. Employers are also qualified to enroll up to 2 company-paid dependents. So what that means is if you want to enroll if you're married, your spouse, uh, your common law partner, your children, your same-sex partner, then it's company paid up to 2, right? So to put context to it, in most companies, you will actually get entitlement to your insurance benefits as soon as you get regularized. So that means 6 months down the line. So what if you get sick doing the job on your 3rd month? What happens then? But here in Taskas, we want to make sure that on the 15th day, you're already entitled to the insurance. Okay. We also cover for dental coverage and life insurance. Now let's talk about our favorite, the COVID situation. Here, we've made medical coverage for COVID. So all our vaccinated employees are entitled to the following. We have 5 days paid leave for confirmed asymptomatic and moderate cases. We have maximum of 21 days paid leaves for confirmed severe, God forbid, and critical cases, and 5 days paid leave for those that are identified close contacts. We also provide 24-hour, and this is something that I mentioned earlier, 24/7 mental and emotional wellness resources for all of our teammates. So those that are undergoing some sort of um, challenges and it's disturbing them, it's getting them off their rhythm, we have professionals that you can reach out to, and we'd be more than happy to talk to you and have a conversation and find out how to go about with making sure that your emotional wellness is in a well state, right? We have Food Forward. This program encourages employees to eat healthy because we care for others by helping the less fortunate. So proceeds from our Food Forward goes to the less fortunate, and that's part of our company's core values. Human Project is our unique approach. Those that are this is our unique approach to performance, right? Salary appraisals when we put additional premium for pursuing your passion. And that's something you will find out more. So if you have a passion and you want to bring it forward, we have a committee, we have a process for it. And if it's something that aligns with the core values of TaskUs, we'll be happy to give you budget for your passion. Referral incentives, TaskUs gives competitive incentives. Right now, we're having a massive referral run. Uh, uh, our employees are taking advantage of that and making money out of it. We have guaranteed paid time off, including birthday leave. So aside from being unplugged for vacations, TASAS gives a company-initiated leave granted to all employees on their birthday and can be used 15 days prior or 15 days after the birthday. Employees can earn one planned and one unplanned leave per month. So you'll notice there's a laundry list of perks that we have here in TaskUs. We have, as you have seen in the photos, the state-of-the-art facilities in TaskUs. We have a reputation for offering amenities that are unrivaled, and we also have recreational areas. To tell you honestly, on the first floor, I have a half basketball court. I have a half like for football, soccer, and recently we purchased, some of those small board games, billiards, air hockeys, and we place it at the fourth floor, something that our employees take advantage of during their free time. The most recent addition is we placed karaoke on the fourth floor, so anyone who wants to sing to distress can just go pick up the mic and sing. So just sharing that with you guys. We have retirement savings program, and this is something unique to TaskUs. It helps its employees to save 1 to 10% of the monthly salary if you want to be a part of this program. So then you get your retirement savings program. And on top of that, the company will match it by 3%. So technically it's free money. We have a scholarship program for high performing TaskUs employees. They're entitled to avail the company paid scholarship for their children. This is something that gets renewed every year, and we have more and more of our employees who are able to take advantage of this. We have our shuttle services. We have free wellness and resiliency programs extended to household members. So not limited to employees, household members can also take advantage of our wellness and resiliency. And this part is something that I like, tuition fee and professional development reimbursement programs. So in TaskUs, we cover a portion of the cost for anyone who wants to do further education towards an associate, bachelor, master's, or doctoral degree. So that's something that we work out with our employees, and it brings them closer to their goals. They want to work, they want to continue working for us, but they also want to be able to finish their master's degree. So there's a process for that, but ultimately it's a tuition fee and professional development reimbursement program. So those are the perks for TaskUs. Isn't that interesting, ladies and gentlemen? So as you graduate and you go through your journey getting a job, you will come to realize that more than just salary, benefits are very important. So here in TaskUs, we also have really good benefits. The salary range, it varies depending on the campaign. We have back office, we have voice. We have our standard statutory benefits, your SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig. We have OT premiums for those who wants to go through overtime and night differentials who are working at night. And of course, we have internal promotion opportunities are available for all employees. And let me tell you a story about internal promotion opportunities. When when I relocated to Bohol to grow us here, the third floor was pretty much empty. But then we had our first 20 employees for the third floor campaign. And that campaign, that 20 people from Bohol performed so well that the client decided to shift volume and give it to us here in Bohol. They were impressed because the call center industry was very new to Bohol and no one expected that Bohol would have outperformed everyone else. So we grew the team, and our vision during that time was to find a way to grow the business, make opportunities for the people of Bohol, so that years down the line, the team here will be managed by leaders who have been hired and bred in Bohol, coming from Bohol. Fast forward, we've grown from 20 to close to 1,000 in just a few months. And all these teams that were implemented of people that are hired who are from Bohol and got trained and did their best were able to beat everyone else. In fact, one of the campaigns became number one globally, beating all other centers, competing with those in the metro, those in other countries, those in the US. The people of Bohol were able to prove that they could be number one. And they were number one throughout the entire quarter of 2022 for the first quarter. As a result of that, we were able to promote close to 80 people from teammates to supervisors. We were able to promote, I think, close to 10 managers already, and the list keeps going. And that's the direction we wanted to take, to build the opportunity for everyone. I just wanted to share that story with you guys. I hope that's something you will remember as you look into and pass by and see TaskUs. So on top of competitive salaries, I just wanted to share this with you. I mentioned about the birthday leave. We have 12 unplanned leaves and we have 12 planned leaves. So in case you're wondering, I really want to find out more about call center and TaskUs. Here's a video that we prepared. Enjoy.
Is TaskUs a good company? TaskUs is not a good company. What? It's a great company.
Definitely yes. My name is Darcy Johnson. I am an IT graduate from Holy Angel University.
My name is Sean. I'm a college student from Holy Name University, Tagbilaran City, Bohol.
My name is Cheryl Bautista. I took up programming at Global ICT. What can I say to college students who think dead-end job ang industry namin? Here in TaskUs, we are very meritocratic. We promote people based on skill, potential, and drive to learn.
It's not about the industry that you'll be joining in, nor the degree that you hold. It's about the effort that you put into work that will make you successful. I started as an agent and I was able to work my way up as an operations manager. I'm fortunate to be part of the company who invests with the growth of its employees.
In this job, it gives you access to diverse opportunities, plus a chance of a career development and advancement into a higher paid position. Is TaskUs a good company? TaskUs is not a good company. What? It's a great company.
Definitely yes.
TaskUs lives up to its frontline first principle. We do it to make sure that we help and assist our teammates and our frontliners to make sure that they are at their 100% every time.
TaskUs is a people first company. In fact, during the pandemic, we're one of the first companies to transition to work from home setup. You know what's more ridiculous? Paid quarantine leave for COVID positive employees. Is TaskUs boring?
Have you guys seen our sites? The word boring and TaskUs are two words that can never go together.
You can play billiards, gaming console. We also have our own gym equipment. Plus, we also join tournaments outside Pampanga and for inter-BPO.
I have positive experiences here in TaskUs. If other companies would encourage their people to think outside the box. Here in TaskUs, we say, what box?
Does TaskUs provide good pay from its HMO, food forward, and all the benefits and perks that I am enjoying? What else could I ask for?
But wait, there's more. We also offer scholarship and retirement plans. I hope that you learned something new about TaskUs.
Is TaskUs a good
There you go. So I hope you enjoyed that movie and that short clip. And that's whatever was mentioned there, especially with Sean. I'm always fascinated with Sean. Those are true. I've never worked with a company that holds true to its culture, to its values, like TaskUs does. And that's, I'm not kidding when I say that. Um, so just so you know, we're looking for teammates with or without work experience, 18 years old, excellent communication skills, something that you can improve on day by day, uh, computer savvy, willing to work shifting schedules. So when it comes to hiring, we always believe that the more diverse the workforce is, the better. We will always hire the most qualified person regardless of race, age, and gender, among others, no specific targets when it comes to hiring. Um, in fact, just a trivia for you guys. Our restrooms are gender neutral, right? You will see that there's a sign there that says for all gender men, and in the women, it's for all gender women. So there's no such thing as discrimination when it comes to working for TaskUs. And moving on to our next slide, explore us to be a part of something ridiculously good. So um, if you want, you could complete our easy sign up form. There's a QR code. You sign up today or on the day of the event. Join our Viber community for helpful tips on doing job searches and how to get the getting ready for your job interviews and all the job openings that are open at the time. So those who completed the first two steps will be included in our e-raffle and can win 200 worth of AGC, right? The university relations team will call and send an SMS to the winner. So your name in the CV and in the Viber group must be the same for verification purposes. So with that being said, I'll take a pause here for some questions and answers, and I hope that each and every one of you was able to learn at least something that will get you more prepared, more ready to go for the dream job that you will pursue. And it's a delight to be a part of that journey as we're taking baby step number one today. So I'll leave it there for question and answers. You can use the microphone when you have questions. Feel free to chat as well if you wish. Jelena Solito. Wow. Yeah, it's actually wow. The first time I came here, I said wow.
Thank you for that, Sir Doms, no, for sharing your tips and experiences for that very insightful kaya nga webinar. I really learned a lot, no. So, students, you are free to ask a question. You can use the chat box or you can directly use the microphone. I have a question, sir.
Sure. Take it away, Hanili.
The answer. You said earlier, sir, that employers are able to assess the behaviors of the applicants applying. What tips can you give to those applicants who are nervous or anxious during the interview?
So being nervous and anxious during an interview is normal. Even I feel that sometimes. I mean, at this point, sometimes. But when I started, I was very nervous and anxious. What helped me get through that is first, of course, when you're prepared, right? When you're not ready, you're not ready. So I always came prepared. And when the nervousness and being anxious kicks in, I take a deep breath and I remind myself, why am I doing this? What's my purpose? Why am I going to apply for this company? And as you remind yourself why you're doing this, from being nervous and having that different kind of sensation that you may have during that time, it will turn to confidence because you came prepared and you know what you want. You have your purpose. In my case, I knew what my purpose was. I was in a situation where I had a baby in a fairly young age, and the last money that I had in my wallet was 2,000 pesos. So I could barely buy milk. My purpose was to make sure I'll be able to feed my family. And so I applied for the call center and I got the job the same day. That saved me from a whole lot of mess. But I just reminded myself of the purpose on why I was going through the interview. And it kept me going. Just remember your purpose, and it will drive you to take that one step at a time towards your interview. And it will remind you why you're going to ace this because you know you came prepared and your purpose is strong. And I can guarantee you, you'll get the job. I hope that helps, Anili.
Yes, sir. Another sir.
Yes, go ahead.
A while ago, sir, you said na use the power of storytelling. How about those applicants who are very talkative, sir? Is being talkative an advantage or?
So there are two sides to being talkative, right? One is that's the kind of person who is confident in a sense that he's able to verbalize, which is good, right? Now, the preparation that comes in is to be able to put context to that conversation, right? Because I could be talkative and I could just go there and talk about anything and everything under the sun that's not aligned to the purpose of why I'm here. And the interviewer would think, okay, I'm not getting much. But if you come prepared, you're talkative and that's your talent, and you use that to your advantage, you prepare, you apply the situation, task, action, results, you're going to have a very structured conversation It may be free flowing, but it will be something that's meaningful and it will get you towards um, what you want to achieve on that day, which is to get the job. So yes, it's an advantage to be talkative, but you can use that to your advantage if you still come prepared for that job. It will not be much of an advantage if you're not prepared. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
These are really good questions. Please, how about those people na not as smart as what you expect, but they are willing to work and willing to learn? From Julina Solito. Not as smart as what you expect. That's a very difficult question because I have a perception that everyone is smart in their own right. There's not one person who wakes up every day looking for ways to feed his family and earn that's not smart. The fact that you're thinking about that and you're mature enough to think about that tells me you're smart. You're a very smart person. The fact that you're a person who's not going to let go of this opportunity that you want to go for and you found yourself in that interview room, you're smarter than the rest. So that's how I would put context on smart as what you expect. Um, we don't expect people to be rocket scientists. That's not what we do here. What we expect people is to be true to their passion and what they want to achieve on that day and align it with what we're looking for. In most cases, the first two, if you bring that with you, your passion and remaining true and be able to prepare and speak to it, will get you in the door. That much I can tell you. But they are willing to work and willing to learn. That's true because the fact that the person woke up that day prepared, got himself ready, traveled from wherever he was from to our office to go through an interview with a person that he doesn't know, with questions that he doesn't know will be thrown at him, tells me he's willing to work. He's very willing to work. And after going through the conversation, especially if he starts asking questions, tells me he's very willing to learn. So I hope that puts context on smart people, willing to work, and willing to learn. If you're the kind of person who wakes up every day to get out of the house, to go get what you want to achieve on that day, you're a smart person and you're willing to do it, then maybe Julina, you should send me a message and I should get you interviewed if you want. If you're smart and you're willing to learn. I'm sure that applies to everyone else. Yeah. I hope that answered your question, Julina. I have a story about willing to work and willing to learn. So we have a program here for those who applied and almost made it but did not make it, but almost made it. We knew that they have the talent. We knew that they were capable. They just missed out on something in the entire interview. We gave them a chance. We exposed them to training that we sponsored. And I dropped by the training room yesterday and I was greeted with people that were already very confident. And I was impressed because in reality, if I use my title and start introducing myself as, hi, I'm the Vice President of Operations, people normally stutter. They don't want to talk. They don't want to have a conversation with me. But this group of people, a group of 6 people yesterday, they were very engaging and I was impressed. And they were asking me questions about how do I get to the next level? How do I get hired? What else do I need to do? Those kinds of questions shows the appetite that they have. And we talked about their dreams and what they wanted to achieve. So I was just impressed. those are the kinds of people who are willing to work, and they were willing to learn, and they learned and applied what they learned. And I think that's the reason why when I introduced myself, they were more than comfortable to have a meaningful and deep conversation with me yesterday. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. Yes. More questions?
Yes, more questions, sir. There are
Yes,
students who sent their questions via private message, sir.
Mhm.
Actually, there are 4 questions. So the first one goes like this. There are a lot of competitors in employment. How can we compete with others during the interview that has employment history already?
How do we compete with others that has employment history? So,
Like for fresh, kind of like fresh
yep,
graduates,
I
sir.
get you. I get you. So if I'm interviewing someone who's a fresh graduate and I'm interviewing someone who has 10 years experience in the call center, how do you compete? Right? I can tell you this, you're not competing with him. You're competing with yourself. So it doesn't matter if the person in the room who's also applying has a doctor's degree. Um, it doesn't matter if he has 5 years. Good for him. That's his show. But today is my show. I'm going to compete with myself, and I will bring forward the best of me. I will not think of what those other folks are about. I will think about what I'm about and what I can bring forward. That's my scope. Because by the end of the day, when I make this happen for myself, I did it. So I had to overcome my self limiting thoughts and make sure that I'm able to bring the best of me forward. And a part of that self limiting thought could be, oh, I'm in a room and there's so many applicants. I'm dressed down. This guy's wearing a tux. The other one's wearing long sleeves. They look like business people. And I look like I just got out of the mall. I have my jeans on, my shoes on, and my shirt on. Would that put me on a disadvantage? If you look at it at the surface, maybe yes. But if I scope it out to just me and my show, then no. I'm not competing with anyone. I will compete with myself. I will get this job by the end of the day. That's what you should think. Does that make sense?
Yeah. From our Facebook Live, sir, now there's a question. How about applicants that are not good enough in oral communication but are good in actual job? From Basilia Villarmea.
So those that are not good enough in oral communication but are good in actual job. Okay. So oral communication is something that's important. It's very important because in everything that you do, you should be able to communicate, whether you're at home, you're in the mall, you're watching a movie, you're with your friends, you're with your loved ones, you're in the job, you should be able to communicate. Rest assured, when I started my journey, I did not speak like this. I was just like anyone else. And I would like to think my English and communication skills were enhanced as I went through exposure and training, right? Experience and exposure will make you better, but are good in actual job, right? Because when you have the skill sets necessary to do the job and you have the passion to exceed, you will be good in the job. How about applicants? So I would think this question is about how about applicants who may not be so good in their communication skills, like you're asking if they're going to get hired in the BPO space. There's an exam to go through, a leveling to show what level of communication skills you have, and that's the training that we gave to the folks that I mentioned about earlier. They passed for the back office, but they wanted more. They were telling us they wanted to be a part of voice because in voice they have higher incentives. So they wanted to make the most of their time, that if they're going to do the same 8-hour work, might as well get the most out of their incentives. So they wanted to go through the training And oral communication is something that you can learn. You know why it's something that can be learned? Because when you were born, no one knew how to speak. But as you grew up, you learned how to speak, and the learning will continue. If you want to be fluent, you can be fluent. When I shared my story about I was told to face the mirror and be comfortable, that was half the story. The other half of the story was my mentor was actually there, and what he told me was to prepare on how to sound like someone from a newscaster to a disc jock to a video jock. So then he would have me speak in front of a mirror and he would tell me, "You're now a video jock." So I will start sounding like I work for MTV, right? Jolly and boisterous and loud and good momentum, good tonality. And then he will tell me, "You're with CNN." And then I would relax and start talking like I'm a newscaster. And that was a good exercise. But it's something that I did for myself to get me ready for all possible interviews. I did it for myself. So that's something when you say that are not so good enough in oral communication, I don't think there's anyone that's not good enough. It's a question of how far would you like to go to learn and improve your skill? That's the better question to ask and answer, actually. I hope that made sense.
Okay, sir. Next question. Is it okay if we apply jobs that are not totally aligned in our course, but you believe you have the capacity to do it?
Yes, absolutely. It's a question of where your heart lies. If you have fulfillment in that kind of job, by all means do it. If it makes you happy, by all means do it. By the end of the day, what's important is you have a job, you love what you're doing, and you get your fulfillment out of it. And that's what's going to drive you to be successful in everything that you do.
Next question, sir. Is
Yes.
it okay to answer in our dialect during the interview?
Is it okay to answer in our dialect during the interview? That's a question of which company are you applying for, right? So let me put context to that. If you're applying for the BPO space, you will be paid for your technical and English communication skills. If you're applying for probably in a bank, it's okay to do English and mix it with your local dialect because by the end of the day, these people are facing people who are making deposits in their bank and the people are not speaking in English, right? So then it's okay. If you're a nurse applying for a job in a remote place in the Philippines, you are not supposed to speak in English because most of the locals there will probably be deep into their dialect. So you need to adjust, then you're not going to speak English. It's a question of which company you're applying for. If you go to Japan, what language do you think you'll be using? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you want to go to the US, it depends on your audience, right? So it really depends on the company that you're applying for. If it's for a BPO space, it will be best to bring your best foot forward and show everyone, I have the communication skills that you are looking for. Hire me now. That's how it should go. Did that answer your question?
Last question, sir.
Okay.
What are the common mistakes that interviewees answer during the interview?
What are the common mistakes that you answer during the interview? Well, it's not about the answer. It's about how they carry the conversation. That's where the mistakes happen, right? You will have someone who, remember, we talked about being true. That's very important because if you say in an interview, we're looking for someone who's very good in Excel, the use of the Excel sheets, then we want to validate and we'll start asking you some Excel basic and advanced questions. If you can answer those and you just told us that you're very great in Excel, that invalidates what you just said, right? So that's one of the mistakes. But if you're honest and you say, I have exposure to using Excel sheets and I could learn to have advanced skills. So when we start validating that, we get to validate that yes, he does know Excel skills and he may not know the advanced, but he wants to learn. So maybe this is someone we can work with, as opposed to the other guy who just said, I'm great in Excel. I'm very good at it. And when we started asking questions because he wasn't true, the truth came out. Then he made a mistake. He's not going to get the job. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I hope that helps. So yeah, I guess that was the last question, as you said, Hanali.
Yes, sir.
Are you sure? There's one more question from Jelena. Let's take this. What if during training, sir, there's a possibility that training is really hard to come up? I'm not too sure with what you meant by really hard to come up. You want to expand? Yes. Well, yeah, feel free to elaborate. Possibilities that that training is really hard to come up. Are you pertaining to like that training is really difficult to teach? Well, if that's what you're referring to, our recruiters are very well trained to align the behaviors and personality and skills that we're looking for to the openings and trainings that they will be exposed to. So as a result of that methodology and rhythm that we have, since our recruiters are very good, the trainees end up not having a difficult time. Plus, our training methodology is aligned to adult learning. We make sure that the transference of knowledge is retained. And when we validate in the upcoming days, it will come to show that our trainees have learned because of the methodology used for transference of knowledge. I'm sure I would like to think there are folks in this session right now who may be instructors for Tagbilaran City College. So we're big on andragogy and pedagogy and how that differs, right? So we apply the same methodologies. As a result, you're not going to have a difficult time. I hope that made sense.
So that was the last question, sir, no?
Okay.
So
Thank
indeed,
you.
it was a very fruitful and meaningful discussion. And I'm sure there are a lot of inputs and insights that we have learned in this webinar. So now we're going to proceed to the sharing of insights. May I call on Miss Jennifer Telmo and Miss Mary Joy Pacaldo.
Madungog ako.
Yes, Jen.
Mag-open count ako. Han. So, okay, good morning, everyone. So, especially to our guest speaker, Mr. Dominic De La Cruz. So, my short insights for today's webinar, which tackle about acing the job interview, is if you want to get the job you really want to, you have to do well in the interview because many people walk into interviews unprepared. As a result, they fail interviews not because they lack experience or qualifications, but because they didn't present themselves effectively. Also, you don't need to memorize your answer, but do take the time to respond. The more you prepare, the more you're confident you will during the job interview. And as what Mr. Dominic said, that for every interview you go through, and just think positive. And before I will end my short insight, I will drop some quotes. And as you go into the interview, understand that fate is in your hands. Believe in yourself and your potential, and success shall be yours. That's all.
Good day, sir, and everyone. My insight for today's webinar is that to really understand what hiring managers are looking for, since they need not only to be assured in the abilities and experience, but also the belief you share the same goals and values the company in the future. That would be all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jen and Joy, for sharing your insights. Now for the awarding of certificates. This certificate of appreciation is presented to Dominic de la Cruz for sharing your invaluable knowledge and expertise as a resource speaker in the career guidance webinar entitled Acing the Job Interview, Preparation and Tips in Applying for a Job via Zoom on May 13, 2022 at Tagbilaran City College. Given this 13th day of May 2022 at Tagbilaran City Hall, signed by Sir Leonidas L. Borja, Masters of Public Administration, Juris Doctor, our officer in charge. Give Sir a round of applause, please. So now I would like to request everyone to please turn on your cameras for our photo opportunity. Thank you.
Right, kindly turn on your cameras so we can see you. Show your beautiful smile. Okay, so we have 2 slides. So please remain smiling because we do not know where your slide is. So, all right. So first slide, smile. All right, second slide. Smile. All right, so thank you everyone.
And now at this juncture, may I call on Dr. Delmar Cagatin, our SAL coordinator, for his closing remarks. Later na lang yung
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
sir.
To our officer in charge, Sir Leonidas Borja, to Ma'am Grace, the guidance counselor, To everyone present right now, our guests from us, those who are present in the Zoom and those who are watching via Facebook live streaming, good morning. So as we mark the end of this webinar, I would like to thank all of you. First and foremost, our distinguished speaker, Sir Dominic de la Cruz, our VP for Operations, and of course, Ms. Camille Evangelista, the outsourcing specialist, both of them from TaskUs. How about giving them a big applause? So all of you, third year students, class officers, club officers and members, guidance volunteers, host, facilitator, we have Haneli Fajardo. You did a great job, Haneli. And the guidance office led by Ma'am Grace. My gratitude and compliments to all of you. I always believe that we are in the age of globalization. So because of that, we are living in a highly competitive world. So students, whether you like it or not, competition exists. So it exists even in the job interview. Competition is not bad, but how people treat competition is what causes the problem. So always consider competition as a good thing because it forces us to do our best. And always remember that since you are now graduating, of course, next year, so you have to always ace the interview. So how to do that? You have to be competent, you have to be confident. If you can show to be competent and confident, you'll be able to show that you are a qualified candidate. So consequently, the employer more likely to give you the job. So you will be progressing in your career. As your student affairs coordinator, I know how important it is to have a firm understanding of the basics of a job interview. Because I was once like you, I was once a job seeker. I landed in 3 different companies, one in Cebu. When I was accepted, I withdrew my application. I was also able to land in a job in Bohol Wisdom School, and then the third is Tagbilaras de College. I was able to land those jobs because of the fact that I aced the interview. And may I share with you what did I do? Let me share the 3 P's. P, the first one is prepare, the second one is plan, the third one is practice. 3 P's, prepare, plan, and practice. So you have to have a very strong, serious commitment in brushing up your interviewing skills. Prepare, you plan, and then you practice. And always remember, do not forget that the hard work to prepare, to plan, to practice does not begin later, does not begin tomorrow or tonight, but it begins now. I believe that making promises is easy, but keeping them takes sustained effort. Before I conclude, let me highlight what differentiates commitment from a good intention to improve yourself. Decisions, remember this one, and that is accountability. That is why all of you decisions who are committing to improve themselves, you are asked to participate in all activities that the school is providing you. You grab every opportunity that may improve yourself. So with these few words, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the TCC administration, led by Sir Leonidas Borja, our officer in charge, and our governing board, led by our chairman, Mayor John Gisnel Babayap, I look forward to promises being kept and to hearing of many success stories from you, dear TCCians. Thank you and good morning, everyone.
Before we end our session, may I remind again the students about the reminders after the webinar. Don't forget to answer the online evaluation form. A link will be posted before the end of the webinar. Note that the online evaluation form will only be open until 8 p.m. today. E-certificates will be provided. Please give us time to send it to you. For concerns with certificates, please send an email through the guidance and counseling 2020@gmail.com. So that ends our webinar. Thank you for everyone who attended via Zoom and who watched through our FB Live. I hope you learned something new today, and I hope you will assess it to yourself now. And so this is Hanali Fajardo, your host, will be signing off. Thank you.